oh my god, you guys. Wait, that's not how it starts. Oh. Once upon a time, Disney pretty much had a monopoly on fairy tales. Then, one Tuesday, Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine said to themselves, "It's Tuesday. We should probably write another brilliant musical." So, they took some Brothers Grimm fairy tale characters and threw them into a blender, added 3 cups of subtlety, and held up their chalice to say, "Guess what, Disney? You don't own fairy tales." Over time, Into the Woods earned its place amongst musicals that every diva in training needs to know. And now, the whole world is finally let in on the magic of Into the Woods, thanks to a feature film version produced by Walt Disney Pictures, which has officially restored its monopoly on fairy tales. The story is set in motion because everybody wants something. What else is new? Most importantly, the baker and his wife wish to have a child because, let's just say, nobody's getting any younger. Unfortunately, they're way barren because the baker's dad stole magic beans from Meryl Streep as a witch, and then she put a curse on the whole family. Which sounds harsh, but is pretty fair considering that you weren't always able to get a prescription for magic beans just by saying that your back hurt. Since this is a fairy tale, the baker and his wife can reverse the curse if they bring the witch the cow as white as milk, the cape as red as blood, the hair as yellow as corn, and the slipper as pure as gold. She'll also have a 5-piece nugget with ranch dipping sauce and your Netflix password so she can find out how Gilmore Girls ends. To gather the items, the baker and his wife head into the woods. The same woods where Little Red Riding Hood's blood sugar spikes as she eats rolls on the way to Granny's, and Jack trudges along with his milky white cow. And Cinderella talks to her dead mom in a tree. I'm telling you, you replace those trees with trains, it's practically Grand Central. From this point on, the story's kind of like a leafier musical version of The Amazing Race. Except the winners don't get $1 million, they get a baby, so they get to spend $1 million sending it to college. The baker gets the cape as red as blood, easy peasy, when he saves Little Red from Hollywood's token weirdo, Johnny Depp, who gives a great performance as Captain Jack Sparrow, as Willy Wonka, as Sweeney Todd as the wolf. The baker and his wife are also able to buy the cow as white as milk off of Jack in exchange for their magic beans. As it turns out, the beans are not club drugs, but they do sprout a beanstalk that Jack uses to shoplift from the gift store up in Giant World. The baker's wife keeps running into Cinderella, but she can't get the slipper as pure of gold off Cindy's foot, cause Cindy needs it to run away from her prince, who studied romance at the Robin Thicke Institute of Blurred Lines. The prince totally has a blank space, but Cindy's all charming, "You're a nightmare dressed like a daydream." Meanwhile, the baker's wife is able to nab the hair as yellow as corn off of Rapunzel, who BT dubs is also totally in this story. Thankfully not played by Mandy Moore, cause hearing and seeing are 2 different things. Rapunzel and Cinderella's princes meet in the woods to share the agony of their princess pursuits. Though once they start rolling around in a creek, you start to wonder if they're actually pining for the princesses, or if they're gonna move to Hell's Kitchen together and adopt a small dog named Cleopatra. Long story short, everyone gets what they want because duh. The baker and his wife are with child. Meryl Streep as a witch gets her potion. Jack gets giant bling. Red Riding Hood has a wolfskin coat. And Cinderella gets hitched to Robin Thicke. The end. Oh, except it's not the end because, spoiler alert, stealing from giants is a terrible idea. Turns out everyone's a-okay making wishes, but once there's a giant stomping around their home, they're a little less comfy dealing with the consequences of the wishes that they made. Kind of like how I wished to see this movie alone, and then once that wish was granted, I realized there was no one with me to keep me from openly weeping every time Meryl Streep opened her mouth. Given the theme of consequences, in between Meryl tears, I started to wonder what consequences might result from the Into the Woods movie. Besides Anna Kendrick playing Elphaba in the Wicked movie, which I'm totally calling now, on the one hand, the movie means a massive number of people are being introduced to the genius of James Lapine and Stephen Sondheim, which is a major win for anyone invested in musical theater. This includes Broadway producers as well as underemployed millennials running musical vlogs from their parents' basement. On the other hand, the movie's success does mean that we're unlikely to see an end anytime soon to the decades-long phenomenon of young composers trying to sound exactly like Stephen Sondheim. Either way, I'd like to propose a toast. Here's to the divas who lunch, aka the team behind Into the Woods. Here's to Disney, which probably already owns the rights to anything worthwhile you'll ever write, as well as your soul itself. And here's to not having to pretend that the Les Mis movie was remotely acceptable anymore. Not that I ever did. The end.
Roo McGOO, roo McGOO, roo McGOO, roo McGOO, roo McGOO, roo McGOO, roo McGOO.